Hey kids, you're listening to a couple of annoyed grumboys, and this is the 138th Simpsons podcast.
On the spaceship, lollipop, gingerbread men like to do hip-hop and chocolate chips. We just love to dance on Mars.
That's right, we're the Simpsons podcast that discusses the animated series The Simpsons from seasons 11 and beyond. And the newest episodes win the air. Why do we do it this way? Well, the entity known as Wheel of Random has forced us to do this podcast in such a manner, because plenty of other podcasts out there have discussed the Golden Age, that being seasons 1 through 10. So we're tasked to see if there's any episodes from 11 and beyond that can match those Golden Age episodes. And I say we because I'm not just a we, I'm a one. My one name is Craig, and to make it a we, I have another one to make it a we. That is the other Noe Grunt Boy.
Steve. Yes, I am the wee.
You are the wee, Steve. Here, quick, read this. These letters and maybe a number in there.
Looks like focus. I-8-P-P.
You ate pee-pee. Now, is that urine or a wiener?
It started as one and then became both.
Yeah, to become one, as the great Girls of Spice once said. Steve, let's date this episode.
Alrighty. Hey, episode. You want to get a milkshake sometime? Maybe watch a movie?
Sure. And when I mean date, look, Steve, we just finished up the Nerdapalooza.
That's right.
This last weekend, Comic-Con. And well, yes, we all know Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Mr. Doom himself. But I think the biggest news came out of the Simpsons panel at the San Diego Comic-Con, right?
That's right.
I mean, not to be political here, Steve, but I think, I'm going to say it now, future former vice president made a little video.
That's right. She, did a classic Simpsons quote talking about elections and that classic treehouse of horror.
But we're not a political podcast, so we're not going to talk about that. But we will talk about a little bit what went on at the Simpsons panel, which was moderated by some guy named Kevin James.
Oh, yeah, he lost a bunch of weight, right?
Yeah, he was king of clerks. Is that Kevin James?
Yeah, and he was in the mall. He was like a real mall rat.
Hey, we'll hear about that later. But yes, no, Kevin Smith was a guest moderator. They had some guy named Matt Grading there, some other guy named Matt Selman, and of course producers Rob Lezebnik, friends with Conan O'Brien, of course.
Of course.
Jessica Conrad and Tim Bailey. They all talked about the upcoming season, and we learned a little bit of Treehouse of Horror, Steve. Do we know any of the segments, maybe?
Well, one we got is called Denim, which is a parody of Venom about a symbiotic pair of jeans. And it sounds like really cool because it is they partnered with Stupid Buddy, which is makers of Robot Chicken, to make this. And Seth Green was there to talk about the show. And they said it took like several months to shoot. But I'm really excited about that. And also they said that there's going to be a second Scary trilogy that will be all about stories written by Ray Bradbury. So we get a Treehouse of Horror and then another later on in the season, second Scary trilogy.
Ooh, it's like the, what was it, season 30 or 31 or 2 that had the Thanksgiving of Horror?
Yeah, I think that was season 32, if I remember correctly. And yeah.
Yeah. You know, that actually was on FXX the other day. And man, what a great episode of that trilogy, or Thanksgiving of Horror was one of my favorites. The Ray Bradbury. I hope Martin, Prince, and Database are all excited that all the nerds from Springfield are excited for the Bradbury verse. It was also quoted that this might be the scariest Halloween special ever. It's the 35th, Steve.
Wow, it's amazing. Speaking of the season, though, we're going to get some guest stars. I don't know if we mentioned this last week, but Conan O'Brien will be returning, playing himself in a big role in the season premiere. And we also get other guest stars, including John Cena, Danny DeVito, and Tom Hanks, who happen to be in the Simpsons movie.
Wait a minute. Stop the presses, Steve.
Stop him.
No, that takes hours to reset, Steve. Why would you do that? You glossed by some names there.
Oh,
John Cena? star of episode 5 of season 3's The Bear?
That's right. Noted comedic actor and future Ernest P. Worrell, John Cena.
Wait. He's going to be Ernest?
There's a meme on the internet about how as he gets older, he looks more and more looks like Jim Varney.
Oh my God, I can see that now.
Yeah, right? Once you see it, you're just like, you can't unsee it.
You know what? I think Jim Varney himself, who's looking pretty nice. Sorry, that's a reference to the How Did This Get Made podcast theme song. I could actually, I'm for this. And in fact, remake Beverly Hills Billies with John Cena.
Yo, yeah, why not? And I think we need another Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yep. But you said Danny DeVito?
Oh, yes. We don't know, but is this a triumphant return of Unky Herb?
You know, Steve, my wish upon wishes for The Simpsons has always been another Unky Herb episode.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what we're getting, then I'm just going to say now it's going to be my favorite episode from season 35.
Yeah, I wonder what Uncle Herb's been up to. Like, maybe he got into crypto.
Or cocaine.
Yeah, that too.
Or what if, maybe Unky Herb had, I don't know, a couple of kids, that were twins, not fraternal twins, but in Philadelphia, and those kids opened a bar, and then he goes and, I don't know, maybe buys the bar or becomes partners with him at the bar. And, he starts off as kind of a normal character that just becomes this gross troll throughout the season. I mean, throughout the years. But we still all love the show because it's great.
I think that's very possible.
We have, besides that treehouse, I think there's going to be a Pacific Rim style episode or a segment, and then also a White Lotus, which I've never saw White Lotus, so I probably should watch White Lotus before I see the Yellow Lotus as they're dubbing it.
Yes, I recommend the White Lotus. It's a lot of fun, and created by Mike White of School of Rock fame.
Steve, as much as I love Unky Herb, there's one episode of The Simpsons that is kind of famous with our friend Bill Oakley.
Mm-hmm.
It was steamed hams, right?
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that we're seeing steamed hams again, but they alluded to that episode was 22 short films about Springfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's a spiritual follow-up to that episode.
Oh.
But apparently with your favorite garnish on a cocktail, a twist.
Oh, I like it. Call me M. Night Shyamalan interested.
It'd be great if they brought Weinstein Oakley back and wrote something, but I doubt they would because I think Bill probably would have said something.
Yeah, I think we would know about it. Unless he has sworn to secrecy, and then maybe if you're in the steamed ham society, but you're also sworn to secrecy or you die.
Right. But we did see there was a poster for the Treehouse of Four, and it's Homer with the Venom face, but with the denim jeans, and the teeth are the zippers. So that's fun. That's funny. That's a nice little parody of everyone's favorite Tom Hardy movie.
That's right. I love him as a superhero villain, Venom.
Quick side note, Steve. I've been watching Kite Man on HBO Max, just Max. A very funny cartoon series.
Yes.
I highly recommend it if you're fans of Harley Quinn. The cartoon series, of course. It's the spinoff. Kite Man has his own cartoon series before Wonder Woman ever had a cartoon series.
As it should be.
So James Adomium, who does the voice of Bane, is of course doing a parody of the Tom Hardy Bane impersonation. And I'm watching a trailer to the new Venom movie, but all I hear is Tom Hardy doing his impersonation of James Adomium's impersonation of Bane. So it's all cyclical, right, Steve? It all comes together.
Yeah, it all.
Tom Hardy created this funny Bane voice that James Adomium and a lot of other people do a parody of, but now the Venom voice just sounds like the parody of Bane.
And it's also funny because Kite Man is a spin-off of Harley Quinn, and at least, in the world, that is a spin-off of Batman the Animated Series.
Right. It all comes from Batman. So everyone enjoy Batman's Come.
That's right.
Which a lot of people already did at San Diego Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how many cosplayers just hook up at Comic-Con.
Oh, I'm sure it happens all the time.
There should be a Comic-Con After Dark.
Ooh.
I want to see Harley Quinn banging Optimus Prime.
I guarantee you that's a video somewhere.
Well, we're not a porn podcast yet, Steve. So before we watch that, let's actually just watch The Simpsons, where it's porn-free all the time.
That's right.
Let's
Porn-free.
go back in time to May 7th, 2000, which you and I were just young 18-year-old lads learning about our bodies.
That's right. And nobody else's.
For quite some time. We were probably in the theaters, without a date, not making out, seeing the #1 box office film, Steve. What was it?
Well, Craig, we were in good company because there were hundreds of people in the movie who were actually CGI'd because it was Gladiator.
And look, 24 years later, Steve, we're getting Gladiator 2, finally.
I've been waiting with bated breath.
You know, the last time I saw Gladiator was in the year 2000, and I did that won like Best Picture that year, right?
Yes, it did.
Again, I'm only 18 years old, but I felt bored with the movie and I wasn't into it. So should I watch it again 24 years later and maybe see why it was the Best Picture?
I mean, maybe, but I feel like it really opened up that realm of epic, like, fight movie like that, where there's just crowds of people and it's like 300 and the like. It set a precedent that it took Hollywood a while to get away from.
Ridley Scott, I like him, but he's also sometimes I look at all these other films that came out in 2000, like Castaway and What Women Want and X-Men.
Your hero.
Yeah, the first X-Men movie. Meet the Parents. Steve, can you milk my nipples?
Yes, Craig.
It's Craig.
No, sorry.
The worst Mission Impossible movie, Steve. Mission Impossible 2 came out in 2000.
Is that the one directed by J.J. Abrams, or is that a different one?
That's part 3. John Woo
yes.
No, John Woo did Mission Impossible 2, but that's when, Tom Cruise's hair is all long and sexy.
Speaking of that director, Homer doesn't like him.
John Woo?
Yeah, because, like, if you ever mention, like, watching Face Off, he's like, woohoo. Okay.
Let's get that mindset, Steve. I think in 2000, I'm thinking of my favorite Rob Thomas Santana song, Smooth. It's probably that song, right?
That's so summer 1999. We've moved on from them. So the #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100 was Maria by Santana, featuring the Product G&B.
The Product Ghost and Buster?
Exactly. Who you gonna call? Who you and gonna call?
It's kind of funny. Like, I remember Santana as a kid, like, being like something my parents listened to. But like Santana had this like big resurgence in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, and that like was a huge album.
All right. Right. Yeah, because I mean, we talked about all the time like the Rob Thomas Santana song "Smooth" was just on the charts for like 14 decades.
Mm-hmm. Might still be on the charts.
Yeah, probably. Hey, Steve, what was the rock alternative song?
Well, Craig, that was "Other Side" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Unless you're Bizarro, then it's "Same Top" by the Blue Brothy Soup Salts.
Is that an editorial joke that you wrote?
Joke's a strong word, but sure.
All right. Steve, I'm having the best day right now talking to you.
Ah, that's so nice.
What was the country song?
Wyatt, Craig, somebody else was having the best day because that song was "The Best Day" by George Strait.
What if I was Bizarro?
Then it would be "The Worst Night" by Jerry Gay.
Is Jerry the opposite of George? Oh, because Seinfeld, maybe George and Jerry. Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, yeah.
But Jerry Gay sounds like a 1950s singer.
Right, like a rock singer.
Jerry Gay on the Moonlighters or something.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, are we going to do an opposite day for the dance electronic song?
We're going to try until I get to the last name because it's hard to do. But the #1 song on the Hot Dance Electric chart is "Be With You" by Enrique Iglesias. And again, if you're Bizarro, it is "Not to Be" without me, because to be or not to be, without, and you is me. And then "Why Lucy," because it's Enrique, so Y as in yes instead of no. And then
I think you're really ruining our listeners' brains right now. They're probably trying to stop, like their minds are hurting. I like mine.
Yeah. And then Lucy is the opposite of Ricky. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's Enrique Iglesias. So, yeah.
Well, Steve, let's just get on with this week's episode. Last tap dance in Springfield, in which Lisa enrolls in a dance school run by a former child star, and Bart and Milhouse camp out at a shopping mall for a week. And as synopsises go, I have no complaints. That's a good one.
That is true, yeah.
All right, Steve. We're going to take a little breaky poo and then come on back and talk about this episode.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back.
If you're happy and you know what shop it stands, giant discounts on your favorite major brands.
And we're back. Today we're talking about Last Tap Dance in Springfield. It's the 20th episode of the 11th season, originally aired May 7th, 2000. It's episode 246 in the show's run. The nerd code is BABF15, written by Julie Thacker, directed by Nancy Kruse, and the showrunner, Mike Scully.
Alrighty, Julie Thacker was born January 1960. She's an American television writer. She has written for The Simpsons, and also she co-created the show The Pits, Complete Savages, and is the co-creator also of Duncanville, which was Amy Poehler's show. I don't think it's still on the air, but all these like lower popularity Fox animated shows I have a hard time keeping up. But there were 3 seasons, 39 episodes of that. And also, Julie Thacker is married to our showrunner, Mike Scully.
Yeah, I don't remember Duncanville. It's, like you say, like it's one of those so many animation domination Fox shows. There's a dime a dozen, Steve. I think we had an animated show for about 4
For a little while.
On Fox, yeah.
Dumb show.
The dumb show, yeah. It's like they give everyone a cartoon.
I know.
I think I read that Crapopolis is still on. I think they're giving that another couple seasons.
Wild. Such a good cast.
Has it gotten better?
I wonder. I have not seen it since.
Well, maybe one of our listeners who watches the show, if any of our listeners do, let us know.
Yes. Yeah, season 2 of Crapopolis premiering September 29th, so it's coming up.
But I feel like I just read it's like going to like season 5. They've already like confirmed like 5 seasons.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, 4 seasons. I see. That's
4 seasons.
That's crazy.
Is it just because they want the Dan Harmon name?
Probably the Dan Harmon name, probably the Matt Berry. I feel like they're trying to make it a prestige show, or not a prestige show, but like they're trying to make it something that it's not, which is good.
We should do, during March Madness, we should just take like every animation domination show ever and then watch the pilot and then, figure out like, is it Cleveland show versus Crapopolis or Duncanville versus the Great White North, we
could have like a McFarlane bracket. We could have like a 90s bracket because like we could have like the PJs or whatever.
But I almost feel like I would exclude Simpsons, Family Guy, and like King of the Hill because I think those are like the years that they would automatically probably win. All 3 of those would like be like towards this is the people like who could succeed along with the Simpsons.
Right.
Do we even put like Futurama up there?
No.
It lasted a couple seasons.
I know, but I feel like it's like its legacy is persistent and it's had so much other life.
And we would play too much favorites with it.
Right.
Just be, Futurama's going to win. I don't care what the other shows are. So you're right. I think I would get rid of Family Guy, Simpsons, Futurama, and King of the Hill because all 4 of those shows would probably win something for me.
Yeah, I think it's those lesser-known shows that had 1 or maybe 2 seasons, although I guess some of these now have multiple seasons, but I would say that Bob's Burgers would be out of contention.
All right, I'll put that on there too. Yeah, no Bob's. So we should launch our Patreon by March 2025.
Alrighty.
And our Patreon will be the Fox Animation Domination, excluding those 5 shows at this point. Yeah, because I don't think, I can't think of another one that I would say, oh no, this is top tier quality.
Yeah.
So, like American Dad counts because that still started on Fox, but it's now on like TNT.
Right.
Okay. All right. This is exciting stuff.
Yes.
Exciting stuff coming around the pipeline of our supposed Patreon.
Yes. So listeners, in 7 or 8 months, this way we'll have that Patreon ready for you.
We'll do the research like the day before we have to research.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So, yeah. Like, what do we have to watch? Hey, but we're talking about Miss Thacker.
Mm-hmm.
She's only written 3 episodes.
Wow.
The first one was The Old Man and the Sea Student from season 10, so we'll never get to review that. But it's funny because that's the 20th episode from season 10. Mm-hmm. But then the next season is this one from episode 20 from season 11. So she gets that A good old episode 20.
Yep, and the other episode that she wrote, I'm Going to Praiseland, she didn't quite make the 20, but it's season 12, episode 19.
They could have just waited one more episode to air.
I know, it's a shame. But we reviewed it on our 84th episode way back in September of 2020, in the depths of the pandemic.
Neato.
That was, the episode where Ned builds the theme park in honor of his dead wife, Maud.
Right. Let's just get on with this week's episode, Steve. We have a chalkboard gag because we are, in fact, in the year 2000, in the 4:3 aspect ratio. So we get credit, Steve. And chalkboard gag is written by Bart this time. He's writing, I will not dance on anyone's grave. Now, Steve.
Yes.
So I assume, we always talk about the origin of this, and I just, let's think here. 2000 has is Maud dead yet?
Yes.
All right. So I think Bart's saying, I think I'm going to dance on Maud Flanders' grave later. And then Krabappel's like,
Don't do that.
Bart, that's kind of, it's insensitive. You're going to detention, so you have to stay after class and write this.
That seems reasonable. Although, not Maud, but if you were if you were known to be a dancer and you died, wouldn't it be kind of honoring your legacy to dance on your grave?
That's what I was going to ask you. If you were to dance on anyone's grave, who would it be?
Ooh. That's a good question.
I would go with Gregory.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe Danny Kaye?
Yeah, Fred Astaire.
Ooh, yeah.
Hey, maybe even Shirley Temple herself.
Yes, perhaps. What a weird thing to bring up. I wonder if that'll mean anything later.
Okay.
But we do have a couch gag in which Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie, dressed in some fun jungle loincloths, swing into the room on a vine gracefully, much like that jungle man himself, Tarzan. Homer, however, swings by, fails to release the vine in time when he gets to the couch, and crashes off-screen much like the whale himself, George of the Jungle. Because Brendan Fraser was, of course...
Yes. Were you a fan of those George of the Jungle movies?
No. Actually, I don't have any strong opinions about them because I never saw them. I remember when I was a kid, I'd watch the George of the Jungle cartoons, and at the time I felt like it was a lesser version of Rocky and Bullwinkle, but when I was 6, I didn't really even get Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yeah. And so, yeah.
You're like, what's the deal with Rocky and Bullwinkle, and why isn't Sylvester Stallone in this?
Exactly.
I've never seen the George of the Jungle movies, nor have I ever watched a cartoon. I mean, maybe just in background, but I was like, screw this, don't want to watch it.
Yeah, it's this, making fun of Tarzan.
What were the cartoons you liked olden days? For us kids, cartoons that were from 60s or 70s that were around before we were born.
Oh, yeah. I always liked the antics of a Pink Panther.
Peter Sellers is great.
Yeah, exactly. But for cartoons, so if we're talking Looney Tunes, I always liked Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, classic, good joke setups.
And Foghorn Leghorn, because you identify with his kind of racist, sexist, prejudiced.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But for the lesser ones, the non Looney Tunes, kind of think of the ones that I really liked.
I was into, besides Looney Tunes, I always liked the Scooby-Doos, the Super Friends.
Super Friends was a big one.
The Hanna-Barberas. I mean, I always liked Jetsons over Flintstones.
Mm-hmm. I always like how Hanna-Barbera, finds a model and they make it work again and again and again. There's so many iterations of Scooby-Doo where, instead of a dog, it's a car or a shark or Asian children.
Which one was Asian children?
The Clue Club. You think it's going to be racist one way, but it's in a different way.
Yeah, see, I'm not familiar with that cartoon.
Another problematic show probably is Hong Kong Phooey.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. I didn't watch Underdog. I didn't watch Chipmunks, but I watched the 80s version, so I never really watched the
Yeah, exactly.
60s, 70s. Were they even cartoons then, Steve, or were they just specials?
They were probably more specials and maybe an Ed Sullivan short. And the animation was a lot more crude than what we know for the 80s.
I don't think it was on Ed Sullivan, was it?
Probably not. I don't know. But
no.
But a short of some show.
Yeah, I don't know. We won't do a Patreon about that.
Unless you ask.
Can we just begin the episode, Steve?
Alrighty, our episode begins, as it always does, with Homer watching TV. This time, he's sitting inches away from the screen, watching The Cyborganizer, a show about a high-tech RoboCop created for one purpose only, to help the NYPD tackle its tedious paperwork.
Good work, Cyborganizer.
I can streamline any procedure, except this thing you call love.
Oh, poor Cyborganizer.
Homer, sitting that close to the TV can't be good for you.
Talking while the TV's on can't be good for you.
You should get your eyes checked. I'm taking Bart to the mall to buy camping supplies. Why don't you come along?
I want to enjoy the show before the network retools it.
How can I organize this modeling agency and still be a good single father?
I love you, Daddy.
Ah, too late.
Homer just straight up like threatening to hit Marge, maybe?
Yeah, the threat of violence is right there.
But look, Steve, you and I are both addicted to TV, so I could kind of see where Homer's at there.
Yeah, I mean, no talking, come on.
Yeah, this is a great quality show.
Exactly.
About RoboCop organizing paperwork.
And eventually heading up a model agency.
With Robot Baby, does the baby grow?
Well, see, here's an interesting thing is, on various Simpsons wikis, it'll have a list of character appearances on each episode. And in this episode, it does have not only the Cyborganizer, but also a character named Robo Baby, which is that said robot baby. And I feel like if your name's Robo Baby, you're not going to grow up.
Yeah, it's like if you're a vampire and you're like 12 years old, you're always going to be 12. Like that movie that's it's called Abigail. I think I saw a trailer for it.
Yeah.
It's like she's like a ballerina, but she's a vampire. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
That does sound like fun.
Yeah. Were you a close sitter to the TV as a child?
I was. And of course, my parents, warned me that I'd go blind. And why is that such a thing? Like, oh, you sit too close to the TV, you're going to go blind. You masturbate you too much, you're going to go blind. Like, I can see. So clearly, neither of those things are true.
So just don't masturbate so close to a TV because then you'll be extra blind.
Well, I mean, you couldn't see the screen for one reason or another.
Yeah. TVs back then were only like 27 inches if you guys were rich enough.
Yeah, exactly. Still weighed like 80 pounds.
Yeah. I think I remember like the very first TV that we had in our apartment, like when we first moved out, we were like 18 years old.
Uh-huh.
Was like my childhood TV, and it was like 30 pounds, like we both had to lift it up.
Oh, I remember that, yeah. That's a pain in the ass, because we were like on the second floor, too.
Yeah. And like the entertainment center, too, was probably all like oak.
Mm-hmm.
It was super heavy. And I remember when I moved out of that apartment, I just kept I kept it there. Oh, you know why? Because I think this guy that I worked with, I was moving out, and he applied for an apartment at the same place.
Oh.
And so I think he got my actual apartment. So I'm like, hey, I'll just keep this in here. And he was like, yeah, that's fine.
That's great synchronicity. Like it worked out for everybody. Right. Yeah.
That first apartment, though, that we, everybody's first apartment is shitty, but that one in particular was.
Oh, yeah.
I still like to bring it up. It was a two-bedroom apartment for how much was it? Like $400 a month?
Yeah.
But now that apartment's probably like Shangri-La now. They've probably updated it to like not be stuck in the 70s. Like,
right. It's all the way up to 1995 now.
Yeah. They probably have like a refrigerator that's not puke green. The rats and cockroaches probably wear top hats.
Monocles. Yeah, of course.
Honestly, it wasn't that bad of an apartment.
No, it was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's a really basic, okay apartment.
Right. Had a stove, had a sink, had a fridge, had a bathtub, shower, and a toilet.
Mm-hmm.
I did actually like the fact that the bathroom, like the sink to the bathroom, like was separated. So the door to the bathroom was just the toilet and the shower. So if like someone was like in the bathroom, like showering or using the toilet, that the other person could be like, out there with the sink, like brushing their teeth or getting ready or whatever. That was nice.
That is nice, yeah.
Yeah. But we're not talking about, how are we talking about that? We're talking about The Simpsons. Fun way to start the show, Steve. So let's go to the Springfield Mall where Marge, Homer, and Bart visit the Vision store, Ay Caramba. Is this probably the first appearance of that Ay Caramba?
It is, yes.
Very funny sign gag, of course. It's Bart's catchphrase, one of many. So Marge seeks to find a quick solution to Homer's failing eyes. As an example of just how bad Homer's vision is, he's tossing what he thinks is Maggie into the air, catching her, but in reality, it's the one-eyebrowed baby Gerald, who is snatched by her equally monobrowed mother.
Oh, there is actually an I Carumba optometry in San Francisco, which spells it the same way.
Surely it's in reference to The Simpsons.
Yep, has 4.5 stars on Yelp, so that's something. As Homer gets his glasses, Marge invites Bart to go shopping for his upcoming camping trip. But because he hates shopping so much, Bart suggests that Marge just get him a deck of cards, and he'll win whatever he needs from the other campers. Marge says that he needs to try things on, since every brand has a different meaning of husky, and that's the truth.
You know, that was a time when the clothes for kids would be labeled as husky. I don't think they do that anymore.
I can't imagine they would. That sounds pretty bad. I mean, unless you're a sled dog, you don't want to be called husky.
Yeah. I think it was even before. I think it was more like, I think they probably stopped it in like the 80s.
Yeah, probably.
But it was definitely a kid thing like in the 70s and 60s and maybe the 50s. Not the 40s because all the kids were at war.
Exactly.
Most of them never came home. So RIP to those dead kids overseas.
But think about how much the parents saved in clothing.
I mean, their Great Depression was they lost a kid.
Yeah, but they saved a bunch of money.
They were real dinks.
Mm-hmm.
Although probably the moms didn't have jobs back then.
Yeah, so they're oinks.
Well, they might have been dinks, you know. Their mom might have played baseball, like in that movie, A League of Their Own.
Yes.
Well, Bart throws himself to the ground, and one arm and one leg up. It's a classic tantrum pose, ready to make a scene to avoid shopping. So he counts down from 5, and before he gets to 2, he recalls his dead cat to elicit some real tears. So he begins to cry, but before the tantrum can commence, Marge lets up, offering to do Bart's shopping for him. And then Bart is very pleased with himself, averting that tantrum, but is left with the real tearful memories of his dead cat. Aw. Steve, think of your dead cats right now.
Oh, God, no.
And think of all those cats that went to the farm upstate that are happy.
Yes, that's the much better thought, because funny thing is like 2 days before this episode airs, my cat died that day 6 years ago, so thanks for bringing that up, Craig.
And I laugh about it. I don't remember the dates of my cat's death, so good on you, Steve.
It's also because we literally got our current cat a week after that one passed, because we weren't going to get a cat, and we just thought we'd go to, I almost said Pet Cemetery, the Humane Society, just to look, and then we found good old Milo.
And Milo's a big piece of shit now.
I mean, I wouldn't call him big.
But that cat sounds you hear all the time on this podcast that we can't cut out for some reason. That's Milo.
He's my buddy, and he's doing engineering, so let him have his say. Back at the optometrist, Homer sits in the chair, ready for the exam. When the doctor turns off the light, Homer instantly falls asleep and begins to snore. The doctor angrily wakes him up and asks him to read the first line, and so Homer reads out, I ate pee-pee. And we see that Bart is writing on the screen and laughing at his own prank, because he wrote the letter I, number 8, and 2 P's. Homer chokes him, and the eye doctor switches lenses on the phoropter, which is the eye thing that says better or worse, and asking Homer if the sight of Bart being choked out is better or worse.
Do you wish you were an optometrist now so you can have that as your eye chart, so when people are looking at it, they can say I ate PP?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be really cool. Also, when I was like 19 or 20, I thought about like looking into becoming an optometrist.
No, we both were. You don't remember that?
Yeah, I do. Okay, I thought it might have been you two, because like you get all the honor of being a doctor, but you work in a mall.
Yeah, you still have to work at a lens crafters.
Yeah,
but you get to work at a mall. Yeah, you still could be called a doctor. But then I think we looked into like, we still have to go for like 8 years of medical school and probably the whole body.
Exactly. And as I think about it now, being that close to anybody all day long would be real gross.
Like, especially after like COVID.
Yeah.
That, or like, I'm just thinking of like the places of work, like it's like America's Best, or like, what if I was like stuck at like an optometrist? And no shade to anyone this, but like, you know, like the eye place in like a Walmart, and it's like, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're also like right next to like the Subway that's in the Walmart. Like you smell it all day. Like, well, it smells good. I guess I'll have Subways for lunch. We should have just became proctologists. We open our proctology inside of a Walmart.
Yep.
Hey, Steve, with the testing done, it's time to pick up a pair of frames. So the doctor suggests a round pair with T shades, saying they are popular with celebrities like Val Kilmer. And Homer remarks that Kilmer is one of his favorite door. And the optometrist says that Yoko Ono also sported these specs, causing Homer to recoil since she ruined the plastic Ono band. Now, I remember we talked about this a few episodes ago, how we put in joke jail blaming Yoko for ruining the Beatles. I'm glad they do that joke, and the fact that Homer said she ruined the plastic Ono band, which of course is Yoko's band. I gotta say, the joke of Homer saying that Yoko Ono ruined the plastic Ono band was pretty good. Mm-hmm. And I know that we had talked about a joke jail joke a couple episodes back, how, when someone brings up Yoko Ono, they always have to say she ruined the Beatles. And we disagreed with that. And, it goes to the whole Beatles mythology, or I guess they're not a myth, but they're real. Yeah, they're real. So we were like, enough with the Yoko Ono jokes. But this one, it takes that joke that you're expecting, which is Homer. We're expecting Homer saying something about the Beatles, but the fact that she ruined her own band, Yoko Ono's own band, was very funny. It'd be like saying if Paul McCartney ruined Wings.
Exactly. Although I would argue, maybe just for me, I like the music of Wings better than the Beatles.
Wow, that's a statement, if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, it's not a popular one, but it's mine.
Do you think Ringo Starr ruined the Ringo Starr All-Star Band, or whatever it's called?
Yeah, I think the Starkey kid could have let it go. His son's right in the band, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Anywho, the doctor tells Homer that he may be a candidate for laser eye surgery. He likes the idea of that since it'll get him out of choosing a pair of glasses, but the optometrist warns him that it is an experimental procedure, and they don't know the long-term effects. So Homer runs, of course, to the laser chair, shouting, "Less yapping, more zapping."
Meanwhile, Marge and Lisa leave the outdoor store Tommy Hill Climber with all the supplies Bart could need for camping, such as a Blair Witch repellent, which, at the time, Blair Witch was all the craze.
Mm-hmm.
We have an antler saw and Deep Woods Scrabble. Sounds like something you'd like, right? Deep Woods Scrabble?
I mean, yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun.
They are then drawn to the movie playing at the Moss Cineplex, Tango de la Muerto, and Marge has been dying to see this film. And Lisa points out it's got rave reviews from both Entertainment Radio Network, ERN, and the Radio Entertainment Network, REN.
The good old Ren. Yes, it's really funny. Also, I noticed that in the line, I know that they use like extra characters in the background sometimes, but Patty and Selma are waiting in line to see the movie. You'd think they'd say hi to their sister and niece.
If you were in public with like your siblings and you saw them, you probably wouldn't say hi to them.
Yeah, that's a good point, I guess.
All right.
As Marge and Lisa check out the film, zaps and screams of pain can be heard from Ay Caramba. Homer leaves the laser eye studio procedure room, smoke still billowing out of his eyes. The doctor tells him that he has to use these eye drops to prevent his eyes from crusting over, but Homer feels that that's just an add-on for an extra cash grab, and he declines. And as he walks away, a crust formed over both of his eyes, completely covering him. And this scene has always stuck with me because it's really gross, and I just hate the idea of it.
Wasn't there an episode that has seen the crusted eyes before?
You know what? You're right. I think it's the weed episode, because that's why he smokes weed, because he has glaucoma, or he's worried about glaucoma.
What do you think those eye crusts taste like? Would you peel it off of Homer's eyes and steep them?
Ew, gross.
It probably tastes like crab juice. No, Mountain Dew.
Ugh.
Is that a wrong personal joke, Joe? I think I make that joke in every episode now.
Yeah, I think we got it.
And did I already mention that joke was in joke, Joe? I feel like...
Yeah.
Yeah, we just repeat ourselves, Steve.
It feels like we're saying the same thing that we said another day ago.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, over in Theater 7, Marge and Lisa enjoy the sexy moves of Tango de la Muerte.
Now that my severed foot has been reattached, I must win back the coveted dance title, Loco Legs.
As your wise but alcoholic dance coach, I know that somewhere your father is looking down on you and smiling. Oh, there he is.
And now I must choose a beautiful partner for the big dance contest.
Oh, he'll never dance with her. She'll have to settle for some Mexican millhouse.
I demand to know your name.
My name is Lisa Bella. That's my name with Bella on the end of it. Ask her, oh God, please ask her to dance.
I shall dance with her.
Que malo. Once again, I must sugar my own churro.
But I am just a simple librarian. I have only read about dancing in books.
I will show you something that is in no book.
Sexy.
Yeah, can I ask a real dumb question?
Sure.
Okay, yes, I know this is a cartoon and it's about comedy, it's jokes. But this is a movie, right?
Right.
Are they in like a Zucker Abrams movie? Is this a Zucker Abrams movie? Because it's full of comedy bits.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, he just like, oh, if only my instructor could see me now. Oh, there he is right there. Like, that's such a...
right. Or even less like, now that my severed foot has been reattached, like,
Yeah.
I can win the coveted title of Crazy Legs.
So, like, Lisa, she's 8 years old, and maybe, like, this comedy movie that they're seeing is, 8 years old. Movies, you're influenced by what you see, right?
Yeah.
But, like, Marge, like, really wanted to see this movie, so she's, like, really into, like, slapstick comedy.
Or she's just so innocent and naive that she doesn't get the jokes because, she just thinks that it's, like, a straight-ahead romance movie, just like she thought Airplane was a disaster film.
I think that's it. I mean, let's look at the people that are in the theater. You have Krabappel. For some reason, Krabappel, Miss Hoover, Lunch Lady Dora are all sitting next to each other. So this must be like all get together from after work.
Yeah, like an outing, like a friend outing.
Or maybe this is like a parent-teacher conference day, or like those days in school where you didn't have to go, like during the week, and it was like a teacher. Not even a parent-teacher conference, but like a teacher work day.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all just out going to the theater. Is that Quimby's wife next to them, too?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But you said Patty and Selma, they probably like slapstick comedy. I think they're just seeing like some wacky Fairley Brothers or, like I said, Zucker Abrams movie.
Yeah.
Because even like when they're dancing, like twirling her around, like turns into like a wheel in a way.
Yeah. It is pretty goofy. Like, and I know your point about this being a cartoon with jokes, but it is a very silly movie.
Yeah, it's a very funny movie. I want to see this movie.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so that sexy Latin dancer grabs Lisa Bella and begins to dance with her, and he spins one way, and her glasses fall off. This is the she's all that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and he twirls her to the other direction, and her hair falls from its bun and drapes over her shoulders, and another spin, and the buttons of her blouse pop off, revealing this bountiful cleavage. And Lisa points out she's not playing; she's beautiful.
Which is kind of shitty at Lisa because she's all about inner beauty.
Well, my mom always said, if you don't have tits, you're not beautiful. That's why I got these nice pair of tits on me right now.
Money well spent.
Yeah, all the fast food I've ate.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But back in the film, the Contesto de la Dance, the dance contest, is taking place that night, and tomorrow, revolution. Inside, a couple shows off their moves, and our swarthy hero knows only one dance can beat them, the Tango de la Muerte. Bella Lisa points out that the only man ever dared to perform that dance, and he died. Eduardo tells her that it was his twin brother, Fredwardo, and where Fredwardo died, Edward shall live. Fredwardo's apartment. Again, it is a silly movie. It's a funny joke. And so Lisa is spun around and faster and faster until she's just a red blur, and he twirls her like a big ring of, almost like a tire. And the audience cheers, and Eduardo tells Lisa Bella that she is now carrying his child. And when she asked how that exactly works out, he simply says that it is the mystery of the dance.
Yeah, this just reminds me of, I was at the theater, like, again, this movie just being so silly. I was at the theater this weekend watching a Deadpool Wolverine. Timestamping this real quick. And there was a trailer for a new rock movie, Dwayne Johnson, and I think it's called like Red Down, I don't know. But he plays like the Secret Service for Santa Claus, and Santa Claus gets kidnapped, and like Chris Evans is with him. Like, watching this trailer, like, this looks like a parody trailer, like that you would see in like on The Simpsons,
right?
Or like like the beginning of Scrooged when it's the Lee Majors,
yeah,
defending the North Pole with Santa Claus and like there's like shooting everywhere. This is literally that movie. I'm like, what is it with this? Like, why? And I felt so bad for like Chris Evans. You could do better, bro.
Yeah, or you could just not. Like, you got money.
You know, we praised him so much last week's episode. J.K. Simmons, he plays Santa, and he's like all like a ripped buff Santa. Yeah, I like that concept of J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus.
Yeah,
but like the fact that in this story he's kidnapped, make him the action hero.
That I'll go see.
Rock.
Yeah, we get it.
Like, you know, I think at this point, you know, ever since The Rock tried to make the new hierarchy of the DC.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be the most. He is the most powerful person in the DC universe.
Yeah, no, we canceled that because of you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Henry, you're not Superman anymore. It's all The Rock's. Like, I feel like The Rock's popularity is dwaned.
Oh.
The last couple of years, you know?
I think so.
He's the box office grab that he once was.
Yeah, the only thing he's cooking that I can smell now is disappointment.
Oh. You could put that on a poster.
Yes.
But hey, so, Steve, they in the movie, they win the contest, and Lisa and Marge leave the theater, and Lisa declares that she wants to be a dancer. So Marge loves this idea, but feels that they should discuss it with Homer, but they aren't sure where he is. So it turns out that he's in the passenger seat of his own car, ice still crusted over, and in the back seat we got Dolphin Jimbo, and then driving is Kearney, because, you know, Kearney probably is like, which I don't understand, like he's probably he's supposed to be the same age as Otto, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which we found out last week is in your late 30s.
Yeah. Because Otto and Kearney went to elementary school together.
Yeah.
But Kearney's doing his best Marge impersonation, and he tells Homer that when he gets to the liquor store, you should buy some Jack Daniels and a car of smokes. Homer says, yes, dear, in the obedient tone. I thought this scene was really fun.
Yeah, it was. Also, it's weird because Jimbo's beanie is gold, and it's usually purple.
Huh. Maybe they ran out of purple crayons.
Or maybe he got a fancier beanie.
Yeah, hey, we don't know. But Jimbo is like from like a rich family, isn't he?
That is true, yeah. So it could be a solid gold beanie.
Probably is. He probably got it for his bar mitzvah.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Mazel tov. Right. So Lisa and Marge visit the Little Vicky Valentine School of Dance, where a mechanized sign rotates a pointing finger into a young girl's dimples. Inside, there are posters from various movies by Vicky Valentine, such as Little Vicky for President, Little Vicky versus Big Rhonda, and Hell Hath No Vicky. Marge has fond memories of the dancing movie star, and luckily, they get to meet her in person.
Her perky smile and dancing brought America right out of the Depression.
Well, I think World War II helped a little, Mom.
Don't smart mouth, Lisa.
A great big sunshine hello to you.
Hi, Little Vicky.
Oh, that was such a long time ago. I'm just plain Vicky now.
All right. I'd like to sign my daughter up for lessons, Vicky.
Little Vicky.
But you just said that...
So what dance style were you interested in? We have ever so many. There's ballroom.
Ow! You stepped on my toes again.
If you would just let me lead.
You're not a leader, Seymour. Never have been, never will be.
Oh.
There's square dancing.
Oh, the birdie in the cage, out lady in the center. Now the birdie is pretty and the crows hop in. Pluck the feather all together. Hell bent for leather. Put your honey in the saddle.
Or there's the dance that made me ever so famous. Tap.
But I want to learn a dance I can use in real life, like the Tango de la Muerte.
Oh, bless your heart. Let's get you some tap shoes.
Little Vicky, I really think she had her heart set on...
Little advice? Don't live through your child.
Okay.
There's something about, like, Lisa as being such a kid here. It just reminds me of being a kid because it's like she wants to do the advanced thing right away. Like, just teach me this. That's all I want to know. Like, as a kid, learning guitar, like, at first I'm like, you know, I get a guitar. I'm like, all right, well, teach me how to play Van Halen. You know, like,
right.
Teach me how to play Hot for Teacher. That's all I want to play. And, you know, the guitar instructor's like, no, you got to, you know, learn what each string is. You got to learn all your basic chords. You got to learn scales. I'm like, but I just want to play Hot for Teacher, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you get there by learning the basics and fundamentals. But as a kid, Lisa just, no, give me the cool stuff first. And I like that little aspect of this.
Yeah.
Story.
I also really like, in the very beginning, like, Marge being like, that little Vicky got us through a Great Depression. And Lisa's like, well, then the war helped. And
yeah.
That's funny. So Little Vicky obviously is based on Shirley Temple or Shirley Temple Black, But Shirley Temple went into a different line of work as an adult, becoming a U.S. ambassador to other countries. She's often used her name of her husband, Charles Black, or
Mr. Black,
to gain credibility in her adult life and not to be solely associated with being a child actress. In fact, Shirley Temple was offered the role of Little Vicky, but she declined, thereby allowing Tress MacNeille to take the part.
It's probably for the better.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't think you would get those nuances that Tress gives through voice acting. I honestly, I don't know what Shirley Temple's voice sounds. Besides, like, as a little kid voice, I don't know what her adult voice sounded like.
Exactly, and I think even in the year 2000, I don't think getting Shirley Temple was like the get that some people might think it is.
I mean, my mom would have watched the episode.
Oh, that's something, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom was huge, like, as a kid, loved Shirley Temple films.
My dad did too, weirdly, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
That's what I was thinking.
I was like 43 when those movies came out.
Yeah. Old enough to be Shirley Temple's grandfather, but...
Great-grandfather.
Yeah.
Have I ever seen a Shirley? I don't think... I mean, my mom probably had some on as, like, if they were on, like, TV or whatever. I don't think I ever sat down and watched a Shirley Temple movie.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
I'm looking through her list. Yeah, it's not really something that... she made like 800 films in the span of like 2 days. So.
Right. They can now call that the porn star model.
Yeah. I wonder how she was treated as a kid back in those days.
Great, I'm sure.
I mean, we all know the story of like Judy Garland and how they just doped her up. Like, was Shirley Temple doped up all the time?
I mean, she adjusted to adulthood in a better light than other stars like Judy Garland, but...
Boy, what did she do after she acted, Steve?
She became a U.S. ambassador.
That's right.
For Ghana and Czechoslovakia, and she was also the chief protocol of the United States.
Is it said why she turned down the role, or is it just like maybe she's like, yeah, I don't need to do this?
I really think it was, because I think that she wanted to be known as anything other than that person.
Well, Steve, here, I made you a Shirley Temple.
Oh, thank you. It's great. You used real grenadine, not just cherry syrup. I appreciate that.
No, it's actually diet cherry 7-Up.
Oh, either way, I'm happy.
And there's a half a gallon of gin in it.
Ah, that's why I'm happy.
Oh no, Steve, you haven't had alcohol in like a year.
I know, this is going to be a fun episode. Woo! So, another piece of trivia. According to the DVD commentary, the writer Julie Thacker came up with the idea of this story when she started enrolling her 5 daughters into dance classes during the summer. And she noticed that she didn't really like the teacher's methods and also the other kids' parents.
Yeah, that's like any extracurricular activity like sports or athletic endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
You put your kid in and you're going to hate everybody.
Right, and you're forced to spend a lot of time with them, and yeah.
Did she have the 5 kids with Scully? Or
yes, I do believe so.
Were they all born at once? Are they 5 tuplets? Is her real husband Andy Richter?
Oh, she does want to control the universe.
Is that how they get the story for Pooh having 8 kids? Is Julie Thacker had 5 kids all at once?
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of kids.
Yeah, I mean, I am the youngest of 5, but it was spread apart.
Yeah, I imagine just putting them all, that'd be all kind of in the same age. Well, hey, you rate what you know, Steve.
That's right.
Okay, well, Bart and Milhouse board the bus headed to Camp Franks and Pranks. So as they sit, Milhouse thinks camp will be great, as it'll be 7 days without parents, homework, or ear medicine. So he throws that ear medicine out the window. Milhouse, you need your ear medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Bart agrees that it'll be the best week of their young lives, but their joy is short-lived, however, as a good old Nelson Musk pops up behind them, telling them he's going to pound them all week. Yeah, I took it as something sexual, Steve.
Okay,
I think all of our listeners did too.
I think famously Martin went to a camp that he later learned was a fat camp, but it's a shame that Nelson and
Husky Camp, Steve.
Oh yes, Husky Camp. We get to ride the sleds, but yeah, I think that it's a shame that Nelson and Martin couldn't be at camp together, so they could,
Right. Okay, let's continue, Steve. Bart asks what they did to deserve the pounding, and Nelson replies that they didn't do anything. He's just has to pound something.
Don't we all?
Surprised that's not an audio clip.
Probably never will be.
But I gotta pound somebody.
Bart and Milhouse exit out of the emergency door of the bus, allowing it to drive off. Bart wonders where they should go, and Milhouse says that he doesn't want to go back home since his grandma is sleeping in his bed and she has skin like a basketball. Just then, Bart has a realization. Everybody thinks that they're at camp for the week, so they can stay wherever they want. Milhouse suggests the Four Seasons, the hotel, not the landscaping service. Sorry, Rudy Giuliani. As every room has its own safe. Bart, though, has an even better idea than the Four Seasons. The Springfield Mall. And his inspiration comes partly from Homer, who appears in a thought bubble. Meanwhile, at her first dance class, Lisa receives some inspiration from little Vicky.
It's just like my dad always says.
For an evening or a week, there's no place like the mall. Food, fun, and fashion. The mall has it all.
What? What did he say?
Now, the key to great dancing is one word. Tappa, tappa, tappa. Tappa, tappa, tappa.
Teacher, my shoes are making noise.
You must be Ralph.
My daddy shoots people.
Good. Good. Wait a minute, somebody's off the beat. Let me hear you two. Okay, now you. Children, stop it. For all you know, she has a medical condition.
Nope.
I see.
I like the beginning of the clip when Bart's like, oh, my dad always says this, and then has the thought bubble. The mall is this place, or whatever. And then, like, he goes away, and the house is like, what did he say? And this is really funny, like, making fun of the, when cartoons do the thought bubble or TV shows, like, the other party doesn't know what's going on.
Right, they're just sitting there in silence, looking slightly to their left, and like, what are we talking about?
Like, they have that whole joke of, like, remember that time, like, if it's like a clip show?
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember that time that Stephanie drove the car through the kitchen, and they all look up, and then someone's probably just sitting like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
They're just looking up. I don't remember this. I was 2 years old, says Michelle.
Right. Why is the air getting all wavy?
Are we doing the Full House podcast right now? We got 2 podcasts we're doing.
I know, we need to cut it out.
Ah, jeez. Sorry.
Also, I think that this episode, in my mind at least, was most known for the phrase tappa, 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 which we just heard. And yeah, it's going to appear a few more times, but it always just kind of lives in my head, tappa, tappa, tappa.
Rent-free?
Rent-free indeed.
Oh, yeah. Tappa, tappa, tappa. It becomes an earworm.
Exactly, yeah.
And all the time, tappa, tappa, tappa.
I like that, Ralph is a good dancer because, like, we're learning that he's a natural-born performer. We know he's a good actor, but maybe he's a double threat. Like, he can dance and sing.
I think Ralph is going to be, like, the next Matthew McConaughey. But I don't know if Matthew McConaughey dances like Ralph.
I mean, nobody dances like Ralph, but...
Just, like, there's, like, that actor that just kind of seems like a Mimbo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again, I don't know Matthew McConaughey personally yet. But, but you're right. I think he's just going to be, like, the next biggest star of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would love that spin-off show.
Oh, yeah.
Or just, like, do the future, like, just show that Ralph became, like, Hollywood's, like, A-list.
Oh, and he can sing, too, because in Back to the Future, he was in a band, so triple threat, yeah.
Right. I say, forget all that stuff that he grows up as, like, doesn't accomplish much, because he's with Bart, but, like, I just want him to be, like, the next Brad Pitt or whatever.
Yeah, I imagine a movie where, like, he's, like, the star of this big Hollywood blockbuster, and Maggie's band is, like, making the soundtrack song, and, like, it's a whole thing. I could see this.
Yeah, maybe they're dating.
Ooh. Yeah, and, like, Lisa's a little jealous.
Why? Because she'll be the president, Steve.
Yeah, but she used to date Ralph, so.
What's Bart in this scenario? Sells, like, NFTs online?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That's good.
The failed podcaster.
Really into crypto and Elon Musk.
Joe Rogan is like...
Yeah. Oh, he is like a Joe Rogan type.
Yeah. Oh, God.
This writes itself, guys.
Yep, Bart's problematic. Speaking of, later that evening, Bart and Milhouse walk through the mall, noticing how much better it is in camp. There's no mosquitoes, no stupid camp songs, except for the one being sung by the Stan's piano employee, which is doing a parody of If You're Happy and You Know It, singing about the shopping at Stan's while playing a Morgue keyboard.
Doesn't Stan kind of look like Gil?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gil was probably around this point, but that feels like a proto-Gil.
Maybe Stan is Gil's brother.
Oh, yeah, could be.
All right. Well, a voiceover in the PA system announces the mall is now closed. Is there PA systems in malls?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever been at the mall, like when they're like, we are now closed. But this is the funny part, because the shutters on all the stores just like slam right down. It's like super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were like underneath the walkway, you'd be chopped down. And then the security guard leads people out of the shopping establishments. I have been in the mall like after hours, because usually the movie theater that I go to is in the mall.
Oh, yeah.
In this episode. And so like going to a movie like after hours is weird, because, all the mall's closed. And like, all right, this is weird. Like, can I just like break into a Cinnabon now and just make a Cinnabon?
Oh, yeah.
Bart and Milhouse are panicking until Bart sees an opportunity. So he points to the vent and they climb through it. And Milhouse asks where are they going? And Bart tells his friend just to be quiet and keep scurrying.
So just then, the boys fall through the vent, each one falling into a barrel. Milhouse pops his head, shouting that his barrel is full of worms. And Bart happily states that there's gold in his barrel. He then notices that it's actually chocolate and shouts, "Chocolate!" Milhouse then sees that his barrel is actually full of gummy worms, causing him to shout, "Gummy!" There's warheads, jelly bellies. They're like two kids in a candy store.
I feel like it's already been done, but like Bart just said, like, we're two kids in some sort of store. But I feel like that's already been a Simpsons joke, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, they kind of did it because they're like, we're like two kids in a candy store, but...
Yeah, because they say like, right?
Yeah, but it would be kind of... I think the joke, you're right, the joke would be better is like, if we're like two kids in some sort of establishment.
Again, I think that's already a Simpsons joke.
Yeah, probably.
All right, Steve, if you were to fall into a barrel of candy, which would it be?
Ooh, this is a great question, first of all.
Now, assuming, too, like, all wrappers are off, too, so you can just be, like, you don't have to, like, open something. It's like if there's, like, Starburst or whatever, just in the vat of, like, Starburst, so you can eat it rapidly.
See, I'm kind of torn here, because on one hand...
Okay, Natalie Imbruglia.
I would like to eat a lot of peanut butter cups, but if I'm landing in a barrel, I'd rather, like, be my body surrounded by something gummy.
I know. I mean, I think Milhouse got it right.
Yeah, because that seems like the best thing to do. Like you say, Starburst, that feels like it'd be really pokey.
Yeah, little sharp edges.
Mm-hmm.
But the gummies, I mean, you're not like falling that high up. You just like, you can even get into the barrel and like they dump the candy out of you. I don't care.
Yeah.
You're in a barrel of candy. You're like, ooh, I get to eat candy. I know we're adults in our 40s who don't really indulge in the sweet tooth as much.
Right.
But I do like a gummy, so.
Yeah, gummy is yummy.
I mean, they mentioned Jelly Bellies. I like a good Jelly Belly.
Ooh, yeah. And that's pleasant to be inside, too, as long as they don't throw in any of that Harry Potter bullshit.
No Harry Potter. Because mostly I'll just be like, ugh, trans people don't exist. That's why I assume that Jelly Bellies do to you.
Yeah. It's a hard pill to swallow that, people exist in their lives. Anyway.
Oh, man, J.K. Rowling is a fucking asshole. She created those Jelly Bellies to her books, and she's a TERF on top of that. She just hates everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Fuck it. Lord Voldemort, he was right all along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because of her, I vomited in my mouth twice.
But that Harry Potter ride in Universal is so pretty cool.
Yeah, you got to get the butterbeer. It's really tasty.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun little lead hang out. Hey, Bart and Milhouse gorge on the sweet treats, right? So stuff their faces with sugar, and Bart chews on some gum and notices the flavor is gone and spits it out. At first, I thought it was just like some sort of candy. It's gum, though. But it's weird that gum is just like...
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not. It could just be like some sort of gummy, but I like the idea of, like, either way, just having 3 bites and then spitting it out.
I hate gum, but yeah, it's kind of... That's one of those things, like, I just don't like chewing on gum.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's not my thing. Anyways, they explore more of the mall, having a shoe fight in the nearby shoe shop after a hearty toss by Milhouse. Bart cries out for no golf shoes to be thrown, and Bart enjoys a giant chocolate chip cookie and hops on that giant tube of a Toll House cookie dough, which is fed through Milhouse's mouth, causing the dough to shoot from his nose. That looks kind of fun.
It does look like a lot of fun. So they then toss a life raft down the escalator and then hop on it. And the safety water device is eaten by the escalator, and the boys jump off just in time before getting thrashed to death. They then run on trash cans like lumberjacks rolling on logs, leaving trails of debris behind them. The next day, the manager of the mall notices all of the chaos.
Oh my God! Look at this place. How could this happen?
Candy chewed, wigs pulled from stands, cheese packages poked and repoked.
Every sign points to one obvious culprit, a giant rat. You'll have to shut down the mall.
On President's Day weekend, are you crazy?
Crazy with concern for the public, yes. Now shut this place down before the old folks come in for their morning walk.
President's Day weekend is in what? January? February?
Late January or late February, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so why is Bart going to camp in January?
That is really weird.
Well, you know what? When we were like in 6th grade, we had outdoor camp, and I remember half of the school went, I think, during like the fall, winter, and then the other half went during the spring. But very weird that Bart's going to camp in President's Day weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's Frank's at Frank's camp too, and I don't know what that means. So
really weird. It seems like a camp that Bart would go to because they're talking about pranks
and hot dogs, and he loves hot dogs.
And Nelson's going to take his hot dog and pound it into Bart's asshole.
There you go. Exactly. Ha ha.
It's a very funny prank. So, like, yeah, Lisa gets to do her dancing, and then Bart gets to learn his pranking skills. I don't know why he wouldn't want to go.
Yeah, it feels like they're just saying screw school for a little while. Like everybody is, because the teachers are watching movies.
All right. I mean, you get that Monday off, I think, during President's Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're gone for 7 days. So that's like they're probably gone for like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You've got 3 more days, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Steve. This episode's a little sus now. Am I using that term right?
I think so, yeah. So just in case you're wondering, President's Day was on February 21st in the year 2000. So that would have been the Sunday. So yeah, they'd probably put it to the Monday, the 22nd.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we timestamped this up.
Yeah. Back at the studio, little Vicky is dressed to class saying tappa, 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 tappa. And the kids, especially Ralph, seem to get it with ease. But Lisa struggles, falling down yet again. She tells Vicky that the floor is at an angle, so she moves to a different spot. And the dancing commences, and once again, Lisa falls on her little butt. Ralph states that Lisa's bad dancing makes his feet sad, and Vicky calls for a 5-minute break. Lisa then looks to Vicky for advice, and meanwhile, Marge and Homer receive correspondence from Bart, who they think is at camp.
What am I doing wrong, little Vicky?
Well, you're falling a lot. Maybe you should work on that.
Yeah, well, no offense, but maybe I need a little more instruction than just tappa, tappa, tappa.
Why, back when I was your age, I had 43 movies under my belt, and I had to do it without tappa, tappa, tappa. I would have killed for tappa, tappa, tappa.
Sorry, I'm just frustrated.
Well, you'll never save Grandpa's farm with that attitude. You've just got to turn that frown upside down. That's a smile, not an upside-down frown. Work on that, too.
Hey, I got a postcard from Bart. Dear Mom and Homer, I'm having fun. Oh, it sounds like he's having fun.
Why does it have a picture of Vitamin Barn?
Didn't you ever go to camp? The old Vitamin Barn.
There's our Broadway baby. Hey, dig that crazy rhythm.
I'm just walking. Listen, I know I said I wanted to be a dancer, but...
And you will be a dancer.
Look at you, all sugar and spice instead of equations and test tubes. You're Daddy's precious dancing queen.
Little Vicky's obviously referencing a film she was in, saying that dancing to save Grandpa's farm.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, Lisa's grandpa did have a farm.
That's true. And maybe her dancing would save it if she could learn to dance. I really like Vicky's advice that it seems like you're falling down a lot. Don't do that. Let's work on that. Like, I've been in this situation, especially with, like, anything involving physical movement, where people will try and instruct me to, like, just relax your body and move yourself this way. And there's no physical way that's going to happen with me. And they say it louder and it doesn't happen.
I feel like, you know, I probably tried this on you. Like, we would go maybe to, like, a driving range. Like, all right, swing the club like this.
Mm-hmm.
No, not like this. Like this. No, Steve, like this.
Yeah, I don't know how bodies work. Specifically mine.
You're kind of awkward. No offense.
No.
I mean, all the offense.
I mean, it's fine. I know who I am. I just don't know how to use who I am.
How often do you spill drinks?
Daily? Yeah, I'm a little bit of a clumsy guy. I'm a clumsy guy, yeah.
You do fall down, and then when you go to the doctor, it's like, nothing's wrong with you. You're just clumsy.
This has literally happened.
Yeah. So, you know, it's fine. the more weight you lose, I think the more clumsy you will get.
Probably, yeah. I think that, a breeze will knock me down, and then I'll just roll down a hill into a trash can.
Like, you know how, like, a lot of people, when they're walking over grates, are afraid, like, they'll drop their keys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're probably afraid you'll slip.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can hang out with Pennywise the Clown.
Oh, boy, that'll be fun. Have a weird child orgy.
Okay, Epstein.
That joke's both timeless and timely. I like that Homer is fond for the vitamin bar that he used to visit at camp.
Bart and Milhouse had to take a picture real quick and then have it developed with like a thick cardstock so they can make it a postcard.
There's probably a film developing place in the mall.
But they had to do it themselves during off hours because they couldn't afford to get it.
Yeah, that's true.
Milhouse seems like the type that would probably know how to develop film.
Yeah, he probably wants to become a photographer so he can be the next Peter Parker, but he just,
He'll be a Jimmy Olsen.
Exactly. But he will get bitten by a spider, just nothing will happen.
Yeah. And he won't be Superman's pal.
No. Superman will actively hate him.
Yeah. All right. So after Marge tells Lisa that she looks adorable, Homer asks her what she was going to say before they kept, interrupting her with her loving proudness. So Lisa tries to tell her parents that she wants to quit. And when she looks at their proud, loving eyes, she just says that she needs more practice. So she goes into her room, and Homer wonders what that horrible noise is. And Marge assumes that it's the furnace, but Lisa shouts that it's her tap shoes, causing Homer and Marge to say, "Aw."
Aw. The real question is, where did that furnace come from?
Yeah, if only Steve, they would tell that tale, because I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a sweet story about them growing up in the, we'll say, 90s.
All right. Oh, I get it. You're referencing last week's episode.
Exactly.
Ooh, nice connection. So, new listeners, you have a reason to listen to episode 285.
Yeah, just keep on going backwards and listening and watch this get worse.
And drunker.
Yeah, it's true, too. But back on this episode, we see footage from an old black and white Vicky film where a sad Vicky says that she is sad because her cat is sick and that she'd be ever so sad if she should die. And the cat coughs, and Vicky's butler, hopefully, who happens to be black, tells her, and this is a quote, "Well, I'm no animal doctor or nothing, but whenever I'm feeling poorly, you know what fixes me up? Dancing." Clearly, they're making fun of the problematic roles for people of color, or white people pretending to be people of color in those films. He then does a little tap dance, and Vicky tells him that she doesn't know how to dance, but he shows her, and in just a few moments, they're both tapping so expertly that Vicky calls out to her cat, Powderpuff, to show her dancing skills, and the cat's eyes get big, and then two paws from either side, kind of prop paws, if you will, rub the eyes of the cat in disbelief. And then the cat joins in on the dancing on its two hind feet. I've never seen a cat tap dance, and I'm happy with it. And the film ends, leaving Lisa to say that the cat is a better dancer than she is.
The fake paws coming through. The tears reminds me of like an old like Conan sketch with like
Triumph.
Triumph, right? Like an SNL bit. But then I'm assuming if this is a real movie, then that's probably a little person in a cat suit.
You're
fancy.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So why couldn't that little person, the cat? Maybe because it's like not a close-up shot. Close-up, they need the real cat.
Yeah.
When it's like a faraway shot, it looks like yeah.
Yeah.
Again, talking about fake movies in a sitcom cartoon.
Yeah, they made the cat smoke like 3 packs of cigarettes so it would cough on cue.
Right. But this isn't a parody movie. This seems like it's an actual legit, because surely Tamil movies had all the, probably had, like you said, the problematic things. But, there's, movies out there. But anyway, so over at the Springfield Mall, Chief Wiggum has a plan to catch that mall rat. No, not those characters from that Kevin Smith film, Clerks 2. Anyways, using an Acme kit, Eddie and Lou raise an anvil above a plate with a giant cheese wedge on it that's the top of a huge mousetrap. Again, this is the very funny cartoon bit. So Clancy mentions how good that cheese looks and wonders aloud if he could snatch it before the anvil hits. And what's so funny about this is, like, as a kid, too, like, cartoon food always looks good.
Yep.
It's a giant cheese, like, oh, I want to eat that. And, you're probably thinking as a kid, like, I could probably get that before the anvil.
Oh, for sure.
So anyways, Lou says that's 1,000,000 to 1 chance, and Wiggum likes those odds. Which, again, that kind of joke of like saying something's like 1,000,000 to 1. Someone says, I like those odds. That might be a joke. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dumb and Dumber solidified that as like a joke in pop culture that exists that is funny. And I think from that step forward, you should kind of shy away from it.
All right, we'll put it on joke probation.
Fair enough, yeah.
All right. So as expected, the chief goes to grab the cheese and the anvil, falls on him, but like not on his head, so just like below his neck. So it's probably paralyzed.
Yeah.
Bart and snicker at that scene below, and then Wiggum realizes his mistake. It was grabbing the cheese.
It's true. Over at the Vicky Valentine dance studio, Professor Frink works on a rocket set on the stage when Vicky asks to be ready in time for the dance recital. The professor says that he has visited the future, and yes, it will be. Vicky then preps her class and gives some unfortunate news to Lisa.
Okay, kids, tonight's the big night. Now remember, the important thing is to just dance flawlessly.
Excuse me, why isn't my name in the program?
It is, silly. You've got the most important part of all.
Curtain puller?
No one can see the show if the curtain isn't open.
My parents are counting on seeing me dance, and I've worked ever so hard.
I'm sorry, Lisa, but giving everyone an equal part when they're clearly not equal is called what again, class?
Communism!
That's right. And I didn't tap all those Morse code messages to the Allies till my shoes filled with blood just to roll out the welcome mat for the Reds.
All right, I'll be the stupid curtain puller.
Smoothly. Pulla, pulla, pulla.
I get you, pulla, pulla, pulla.
Excuse me, Lisa, but I couldn't help but overhear your nerdly predicament. Maybe I can be of assistance with the dancing and the twisting and the kung fu fighting. Diddle-diddle-dee-dee-doo.
All right. Enter Frink. He's part of the story now.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, I think we know why later in the episode.
I mean, I know why plot-wise, but why did they hire, like, this brilliant science mind to build a set? I mean, no offense to set builders. It's an art in its own self, but...
No, and I think the joke is, too, he's, like, literally probably building a real rocket that could fly to Mars.
Yeah.
But they just need, for this recital, a cardboard cutout is all they really need.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why, I think it is funnier that, when the story continues. Pulla, 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 Steve.
Pulla, pulla, pulla.
Tappa, tappa. Yeah.
Again, I really like Vicky being like, and remember, kids, just dance flawlessly. Like, that advice that doesn't actually help.
But also giving, like, Lisa, like, oh, no, you're still important, too. You get to pull the curtain. Without you, no one will see this thing.
Exactly.
Giving the kid who's bad at sports, like, a thing. Like, okay, well, you could be the water boy because all these kids need fluid, so here you go.
Hey, hydration is very important in sports, and that role is integral to victory. If the athletes aren't drinking water, they're dying. And so, I mean, the water boy is very important.
Oh, no. Were you a shitty Adam Sandler movie?
I was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kathy Bates used to yell at me, and I got support from Rob Schneider, which is never a good thing.
Ugh. All right. Hey, so Frink takes Lisa back to his house. Not a good thing to take a 8-year-old girl back to your house. Anyways, but to show her some, technology. Picked up at the airport gift shop. All right, no, we're canceling you, Frink.
Yeah.
But it's a toy. It's a Buzz Cola can with headphones and sunglasses holding a guitar. And the professor claps in time as he points out that it can respond to a percussive sound with an exuberant shaking of its groove thing. Now, in the year 2000, this joke was, I think, already dated because this is such like a late 80s, early 90s. Like, do you remember like going to like Spencer's Gifts and seeing those like Coke cans where they would do this? Like, this has brought so much memory back for me. Like,
oh yeah,
I never had one. I think a friend of mine had one, but like, I always thought they were cool.
Yeah, I didn't have one either, but my parents or like one of my siblings definitely did. Like, my parents really fell for those kind of novelty bullshit things. But yeah, it does feel like very 80s.
Yeah, it's like that and the static ball.
Yep.
Which I always wanted one, and I finally picked up one like maybe like 10 years ago at like I don't know, an estate sale maybe. It was like, hey, this is only $5. I've always wanted one, and I bought it.
Nice.
Yeah, it still works.
Nice. I'm sure you use it frequently.
It's somewhere in the basement.
Next to that bed of nails that you can put your finger through and make it look like it's flipping you off.
I have. Oh, I don't have that, but I do have like a box of nails, like actual nails.
Oh,
it's probably next to.
You can make your own.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, I need a new tetanus shot, so let me stab into this box of rusty nails. Yeah.
So Lisa finds the novel to be entertaining, but she doesn't really get how it can help her. So Frank takes a chip from the toy and puts it under Lisa's tap shoe. And as he claps, Lisa moves her feet in time. And she's impressed and wonders what he'll think of next. Frank then shows her a weasel ball, which is a motorized ball with a stuffed weasel attached to it that seems to move at random. And Frank is hoping to turn it into a weapon. As he says that it'll kill you, Lisa announces that it's probably time for her to leave.
Well, back at the mall, the Springfield Police Department says that they have a playmate for their assumed Mr. Rat. And they open a cage, and a giant mountain lion jumps out. And then it just quickly lunges at the cheese, and the animal falls on its head, probably killing it. Again, just another very funny comedy because they still have that cheese out.
Yeah.
So then Lou grabs the backup lion and lets it loose, and the beast quickly picks up the son of Bart and Milhouse, who are hiding behind some bushes that are somehow, just growing in the mall. I mean, maybe it's like potted plants, but
there's no pot.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, well, there is. Don't you remember, like, back in the day, there was always, like, topiary, am I using that word right? Like, in the mall, like, you would see, like, trees and stuff like that next to the fountain, and looked like things were growing. Back when malls are cool.
Yeah, malls are sad and scary now.
Yeah, because they still have teenagers in them.
I know.
Sorry, tweens, not teenagers.
Either way, I got to be 500 feet away.
Right.
Bart asks Milhouse if he can see the lion anywhere, and Milhouse spreads the bushes and sees the lion's growling face. And so Milhouse, silent with fear, points to where the lion is, and then squeaks and pantomimes, which Bart understands to mean that the lion is on the other side of the plant. So the boys run, looking for a path to safety. So Bart looks up and he sees an exit sign and heads towards it, but as they get to the sign, they look down and they see another sign that says, "Coming soon."
If only they looked down right after they looked.
Yeah, then they would be Nelson when he's with Martin. Coming soon.
Oh boy. Yeah, okay. A great animation there with the Milhouse, like, freaking out over the lion.
Yeah.
So well done, yeah. So the lion draws closer and closer to the boys, but luckily for them, they are right next to the craft store. So Bart tosses a ball of yarn from the yarn sale display, and the mountain lion plays with it like a little kitty cat, purring with delight. And Milhouse calls Bart a genius. Just then, the lion pounces on Milhouse. Thinking quickly, Bart throws another ball of yarn, which the lion chases after.
Yeah, I really like the feeling of like, oh, the cat's got the yarn, so it's all good. And then like there's a moment of breath, and then Milhouse is attacked. So Bart asks his friend if he's okay, and Milhouse says that it's nothing a handful of gummy bears can't fix. And as they walk to the candy store, we see that the heck of Milhouse's clothes are torn to shreds, and he's covered with scratch marks, and his hair is missing, and he's just been torn up from the back. The mountain lion returns to the police with a piece of yarn dangling from its mouth, which Wiggum assumes to call it a day because he thinks that the yarn is actually the rat's tail. Meanwhile, the big dance recital is just about to begin.
Well, looks like the cat got the rat.
And that's the end of that tale.
Chief, should we try and get the mountain lion back in its crate?
I repeat.
Okay, everyone, we need big smiles out there, so line up for dimpling. Now, this may hurt a lot. What am I saying, May? Ow! Now, that's a happy face.
Little Vicky, I figured out how to dance. I can be in the show now.
I'm sorry, Lisa. People go to a children's dance recital expecting a certain level of professionalism.
But you don't understand. I ate too much plastic candy.
Heavens to Betsy! The star of the show is sick. Whatever will we do? There's only one person who can get us out of this pickle. Lisa?
Yes?
Help me into Ralph's costume.
The old bait and switch, Steve.
Ah, yes. This episode's full of them.
I love the ongoing, like, whatever will I do?
Yeah. And I know that we always talk about how much we love Tress MacNeille, but it's so cool to see her, like, have a whole episode to shine, and she just does it so well.
Right. Well, it's showtime, and Vicky, in Ralph's astronaut costume, leads the children to the marks and tells Lisa it's her time to shine as curtain puller. And then Vicky says, it's too important, and pulls the curtain herself. So Vicky and 3 of her students step out of the spaceship Lollipop, calling out for the lean, muscular children of Mars, saying they brought them candy. So Sherry O'Terry and Janie, as Martians, giggle behind the space rocks. So one astronaut suggests they walk over to them, but Vicky asks why when you can dance.
Yeah. So as they tap dance on stage, Marge sits in the audience, wondering where Lisa is. And Homer shushes her, saying that the plot is already hard enough to follow as it is. So as the kids sing On the Spaceship Lollipop and tap dance, Lisa notices her feet moving in rhythm. She then hops on stage and joins the performers. Marge and Homer proudly notice their daughter, saying that the pressure they put on her really paid off. And Vicky goes to do a tap solo, but Lisa's mechanical tap shoes join in. And the farmer child star isn't too happy about this.
What are you doing?
I can't help it. It's the shoes.
Nobody upstages little Vicky.
Oh, please stop.
I'm just getting started.
I love the little hiss.
Yeah, it's so good.
Fun little bit, just the chip from the Coke can. Letting her tap. If only it was that easy, Steve.
I know, I love the cartoon logic of even that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of being able to, using that to somehow to lift Lisa's weight to make her a dancer. Like,
right.
The more you think about it, the more silly it is.
Yeah. It is a cartoon, Steve. After all. Vicky does a flip into the splits, and Lisa follows along exactly. Vicky then slides on her knees towards the crowd, and Lisa, of course, does the same thing, but sliding underneath Vicky, and the audience claps and cheers, which causes Lisa's shoes to move wildly. So she taps across the stage and walks up a wall like she's Danny fucking Kaye. And Homer encourages the people in the audience to do a standing ovation, and Lisa dances faster and faster until she dances into the seats. So, worried that Lisa has gone berserk, Marge asks Homer to act. And he does, extending his foot slightly, causing Lisa to trip and fall on her back.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
I didn't think, I just acted.
Self-tapping shoes? I'm ever so pissed.
I'm sorry, Vicky. I just wanted to be a dancer so badly.
Oh, I understand. We all do crazy things when we're desperate. I once destroyed Buddy Ebsen's credit rating.
Why?
He knows why.
Jesus, Mary and Glavin, these shoes are in the off position.
You mean I danced all by myself?
See, honey? All you needed was to believe.
What are you talking about, Professor Frank? They're clearly in the on position. See? On.
I was merely trying to spare the girl's feelings, you insensitive clod.
Oh! Well, now that I look even closer...
Forget it, Dad. Oh, I guess I'm never gonna be your Broadway baby.
That's not true, honey. You can always write a depressing Broadway play of some kind.
You think so?
Sure. It could be a story about people coming to terms with things.
Hey, yeah, you could load it up with lots of swears. That's what David Mamet does.
Oh, I love you guys.
Again, it's the joke of, you see it all the time in TV shows and movies, like, oh, you were doing it all along. It was all in you. And then Homer just, no, was it?
Yeah.
It was really funny. And nice of Frank to think of Lisa's feelings.
Yeah, really nice. But yeah, it is just that cliche of the performance-enhancing whatever. I'm like, no, you had it in you all along. You didn't need that magic sword. And then, yeah, it's, but yeah. Also, I just I could see Lisa writing a devastating play about people coming to terms with things.
Sorry, you just blew my mind after you just said you don't need that magic sword. Is that the entire plot of Star Wars? Like, Luke Skywalker doesn't need his magic sword to save his father?
I mean, kind of, yeah.
Wow. My mind's blown, Steve. You don't need a lightsaber to save your dad from being a robot.
Exactly.
That's the lesson that George Lucas was trying to tell us.
It's all in a dream about his dad going to get an iron lung.
Wow. Also, I love before the clip played, we're saying like all Homer has to do is just trip his daughter. It was, again, very funny.
Yeah. Really good. So then the weasel ball rolls by, and Brinks notices that it is out of its matrix. He tells everyone to stay still, and Homer just thinks it's a cute little weasel and tries to pick it up. And then the screen goes black, and as the text says, "The end," in classic movie script, the sound of zapping and Homer stripping in pain is heard. And that's our episode.
Yeah, and like the credits roll, and we get a nice like little homage to old-timey movies.
Yes.
With the black and white and a nice little song in the background. I'm not sure which it is, but hey, that's how the episode ends, and that's how this segment also ends, Steve. So let's go ahead and take a little break, come back, and we'll wrap up this episode.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back. folks, we're back. Steven, let us wrap up this week's episode. Last tap dance in Springfield. We'll talk about some of our favorite jokes or gags, maybe find a MVJ, most valuable jokester. Then we'll give a nice little review, find out what we're watching next week. But before we do all of that, we like to give gifts or something from this episode that would make a great gift, right?
Right.
It could be like a t-shirt or a tattoo. That's what we used to do back in the old days. But now we're just sticking with something that would be an awesome gift. And Steve, while there's plenty of gifts that I think from this episode, like the ferret chasing ball or the Coke can that dances, I thought I'm not going to be a jerk and give you something weird or silly. I'm just going to give you something that you can enjoy.
Oh.
And I know we're a little bit older, but the sweet tooth isn't as much as it is. But I know you, and I think you would never turn down a giant tube of Toll House cookie dough. So you can just snort it in your mouth and come out of your nose. I think you would gorge on that for, I would say days, but I think you'd probably finish it off in like an hour.
Yeah, probably. That sounds really good. I could really go to town on that.
And good news, it's egg-free, so you don't have to worry about raw eggs.
Oh, good. Whew. Okay, that never stop me.
No, that never stopped me either.
Yeah, I like it.
Side tangent. I never understood that because, you would can make a lot of things with raw eggs and eat it as is.
So here's the fun science. It's not the eggs. It's actually all the raw flour.
Ah, so our parents lied to us. They said it was the eggs, and they said sitting close to a TV is going to get our palms hairy.
And it's going to make you go to hell.
Yeah. So we can never masturbate again.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, that's your only gift, Steve.
Well, Craig, you got me a great gift, and you also mentioned not getting something silly. However, I went on eBay.com, and I found a 1991 Coca-Cola breakdancing can tested complete. That technology is called Takara. That's what those dancing things are. But this is in-package dancing can with the headphones and sunglasses, the exact model that was modeled after the Duff Beer can. And, it's going used, obviously, because it's not new, on eBay. I know this is kind of tacky to tell you what I paid for your gift, but it's only $49.99.
Well, I see one here that's a Diet Coke can that's only $39.99.
Oh, and 0 calorie.
Yeah, that's true. I'm more of a Diet Coke drinker, Steve, so I'm going to take your gift and shove it up your fucking ass.
Oh, boy. Ay, caramba.
I'm going to take you to Franks and Pranks campground and do what Nelson was going to do to Barton. I see another one that's a vintage 1990s dancing cola can, but it's not Coke brand, it's just cola.
Mm-hmm.
I think you appreciate that one more because when you watch sitcoms, they always have cola cans. They can't actually have the rights to put Coke on it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just kidding. I'm not going to shove anything up your ass, Steve. Sorry.
No.
I'm going to keep it in this pristine box. Now I'm going to open it and play with it and maybe put it on my shoes and dance the night away.
Very nice.
But Steve, from this episode, what made you laugh? Do you have an MVJ?
Oh, boy. There's a lot of funny in this episode. I really like the cartoony nature of Wiggum and the cheese trap and the mountain lion. It's all very silly. Frink at the end doing the whole ploy about it was in you all along, but actually it wasn't. I like Homer driving the bullies to get Jack Daniels and a carton of smokes. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but I have to say, and this probably isn't shocking, that my MVJ is Little Vicky. The line, I'm ever so pissed, her anti-communist stance, her just her overall being so pleasant but so awful. Just really enjoyed it, and I think the performance is really good. I feel like whenever I watched this initially, it probably annoyed me, but this is fun stuff, so I'm going to give it to Vicky. What about you, Craig?
Yeah, I think it's kind of obvious that you give it to Tress MacNeille for Little Vicky. I was wondering, because they gave her so many good lines and bits, that when Shirley Temple said that she didn't want to do it, do you think they expanded that role?
Yeah, I think so. I think they probably painted her in... I wonder if they painted her in a more negative light as a character because Shirley Temple said no.
Yeah, the original character was not as jokey as Tress's version.
Right. Probably the movie clip too. I don't think there's any way they would pitch that to Shirley Temple.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably more of a relief to the writers that, okay, we don't have to stick to this script of like, okay, well, we have this big star and we're going to have to appease them and make the script so it's not like insulting. And I don't really think that it's insulting, but it just kind of points out like the silliness of the cinema of the day.
Yeah.
Shirley Temple. But you're right. I mean, Tress MacNeille, like this is one of her big roles, I think, as a character on the show. Like not just like a one or two lines here or there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously we see her as the grandma character in Futurama. It's a big major character. She's the Mr. Burns of Futurama.
Right.
But yeah, just seeing this in a bigger role, it's a lot of fun. I think another character that I'm going to give props to will be Milhouse.
Oh, yes.
And that's for when Bart, of course, is like, my dad always said this, and yes, thought bubble. Milhouse like, what did he say? And then also the animation of Milhouse freaking out over the mountain lion that's right behind them, and of course him getting shredded from the cat was hilarious to me, and a lot of fun stuff there with that. All right, Steve, all in all, what did you think of this episode?
Oh boy, like I kind of preluded to, I think when this came out, I thought it was like not a great episode, but watching it now with modern eyes, I love it. It's really funny. I really kind of relate to Lisa not instantly being good at something and then wishing you were and just not being able to succeed, especially when everyone else around you is able to. As somebody who's as clumsy, as awkward as I am, like something that I can really relate with. This is such almost an homage to sitcom and cartoon logic, from the Looney Tunes nature of the mall plot to the magic MacGuffin that can like make you special, that doesn't really, just so much of it is really fun. I really like the Cyborganizer. Just a fun time. It's a shame that Julie Thacker only wrote 3 episodes of The Simpsons, because Going to Praiseland was great, and this one is just so silly, so fun. I love all the dumb logic. You know, I looked on IMDb, and there's like somebody who gave it a 1 out of 10 stars for all the quote-unquote plot holes, but to me, that just makes the episode that much better. Like, I love how goofy the Tango de la Muerte is. This is a winner for me. So if I had to give it a ranking, of course, Little Vicky was based on actress Shirley Temple. And if you Google how many movies did Shirley Temple make, the answer is at least 17, which I don't know how they don't have a quantifiable number, but out of at least 17, I'm going to give this at least 15.
I think if you read more, it's like almost 40 or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, like parts where she wasn't like even credited. Yeah, you talk about the writer of the episode, of course, Julie Thacker. Do you think she stopped writing because she had to take care of at least 5 kids?
Probably, yeah.
Mike Scully's like, look, I got grading money. I don't think you need to write anymore.
Yeah, I'm a showrunner. I can take it.
Look, I think you're right on this episode. It is all cartoon fun. And, I point out to like the movie, the Tango movie, like even as like kind of like a slapstick movie within the Simpsons universe, which also in my mind just makes this episode more fun.
Yeah.
So I think it's like little things like that where you can just like point out, when this movie came out in 2000, we were just about to graduate high school. This is how old that movie is.
Right.
And this is how old that episode is. So looking at it now, 20 plus years later, 24 years later, 24 and 2 months later, it is a lot of fun. In season 11, as much as we started this podcast with 11 and beyond, because that's where this is when we feel like The Simpsons declines. I think, going from like a season 20 episode to this episode, like it just shows like the progression of, it's Simpsons has always, I think, been kind of top tier comedy. And yes, and I don't know what year that review you just said that was like, gave it a 1 star on IMDb, but if it's from like the year 2000, I could see someone.
It was from 2018.
Yeah, not too long ago. The Simpsons is supposed to be funny and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode is funny and fun. As much as we love those like poignant episodes with like Mona or whatever, or Lisa and Homer centric episodes where it's heartfelt and sitcom-y. As much as we love that, sometimes we just need one of these goofy episodes that's not too dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right with like a lot of the old Looney Tunes cartoon logic that they kind of like flip the switch on it in this episode. Just makes it ever so fun, Steve.
Ever so fun.
So if I gave this a ranking, Look, they parody the Good Ship Lollipop in this, which is probably, one of Shirley Temple's biggest claim to fame, is like her big one, right? And when I think of Good Ship Lollipop, I think of this episode from Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, called The Arsenal of Freedom. And the whole plot of this episode is like there's like this robot salesman that's trying to sell them this weapon technology. They use like people's like memories to pop up trying to sell this thing. There's just like one character that pops up that Riker knows, and he's like, "Don't you know I'm the captain of the USS Lollipop," or whatever. Which is a reference, of course, to the Shirley Temple one. It's a very stupid, funny scene that probably Gene Roddenberry thought was hilarious. Anyways, so if I had to get some ranking based off of Season 1 episodes of TNG, which, of course, if you're a Star Trek fan out there, Season 1 of Star Trek The Next Generation,
Ooh.
Not the best, obviously. So if you think about, like, let's see here, whatever the top episode of Season 1 is, I'm trying to think what fans would think would be, let's say... Man, what would be the number 1 episode of Season 1? Well, I'll just say the worst episode probably is called Code of Honor, which is a very racist episode. So out of Code of Honor to, I don't know what the top episode of Season 1 is, but I'll give this episode a 1100101. That was a good episode.
Great score.
But had a lot of fun with this, Steve.
Yeah.
Tap, dance, Springfield. It means we only got 2 more episodes of Season 11.
Wow.
So should we see if the Wheel of Random will give us a Season 11 or just, be random like it's supposed to be?
Oh, I can't wait to find out.
Well, wait no more, Steve, because I need you to spin that wheel to see what episode we are watching next.
Alrighty, here we go.
We have Season 30.
Oh, Season 30. Wow.
So no 11. Sorry, folks. That's okay. Steve, should we spin the wheel to see what episode it is?
Yep, here we go.
All right, we have episode 14.
Season 30, episode 14.
All right, Steve, the only hint for the title will be the air date, and that's February 17th, 2019.
Well, let's see. February 17th, that's just a few days after Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is all about love. A story with a love story that's classic as old as time. But, the episode that we watched this week was about dancing. So maybe they'll go from dancing to singing. And so maybe it's a take on Singing in the Rain. And again, we'll have Frank featured prominently, so it'll be called Singin' in the Glavin'.
That sounds oddly sexual, too.
It does.
No, Steve, the title of this episode is The Clown Stays in the Picture.
The Clown Stays in the Picture.
Yeah, I wonder what that's going to be about, Steve. At least, I wonder who the main character is going to be.
Well, Bart is a class clown, so... No, of course, it's probably a crusty episode.
Sure.
I'm going to guess that he tries his hand as a dramatic actor, trying to be taken seriously. He wants to be like a Daniel Day-Lewis type, so he becomes a method actor. But the director finds his performance to be so bad that they re-edit his film to be a comedy instead of a serious drama. And when he finds out, Krusty quits the film.
What about the B story?
Oh, the B story. Homer and Lenny start a pinochle competition, but they don't tell Carl, and so he starts his own pinochle company with Marge.
Company?
Tournament.
Okay.
If you're a real pinochle head, you call it a company.
Right, the pinochle company.
Right, and so they have to face off Homer and Lenny and Carl and Marge. And also, through this, Marge and Carl have an affair.
I'd love to see this episode, Steve, but I won't because it doesn't exist.
No.
Only in your mind grapes. Mm-hmm. This episode actually is, it does have Krusty in it, so you're right there. But Krusty reveals the untold story of his past in his movie, The Sands of Space. While working as a personal assistant on the movie, Bart and Lisa learn about the early years of their parents' relationship. And Steve, before I ask you if you remember this, I'm just going to say I actually kind of remember this episode.
Oh, wow. I feel like I remember when this well, around the time this was coming out, I remember hearing about it because I think that there's a special guest star that I think will relate to the kind of show that we do, but I have not seen this episode.
Yeah, Mark Maron, Lock the Gates fame from Almost Famous, that actor.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's in this episode, and I think I've seen this episode like twice now, which is kind of weird.
Wow, yeah.
But now, like, I saw it as it aired, but I remember, like, it was on FXX, and I just watched it. But I think I remember, like, it kind of starts off with, like, Mark Maron doing a podcast, which is what he does best. This goes up there with his episodes like that 90s show or the most recent one that we just watched. What was that episode?
3 scenes plus a tag from a marriage.
Yeah, so it's another, like, revisionist history episode for Marge and Homer.
Oh, wow.
Are we going to like it, or are we going to abhor it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, me either, because I think that's the episode I'm thinking of. So hopefully I'm right, just like the rain, Steve. Hey, folks, as Mark Mayer would say, thanks for listening. Tell a friend to listen to our podcast. That's what he says, right? He also says, email the Annoyed Grunt Boys, which is us, at 13simpsons@gmail.com, or contact us on social media at 13simpsons, like Instagram, which is our preferred social media. We're also on Threads, and you can follow us on YouTube and listen to the podcast at 13simpsons.
And hey, if you're so kind, go to your favorite podcatching app, leave us 5 stars or the equivalent, but you don't need to write an actual review. You can just tell us your favorite Shirley Temple movie or your favorite variation on the Shirley Temple drink. And hey, while you're there, go to the show's notes, click on the microphone, and you can leave us a voicemail. We want to hear from you. You can do an impression, you can ask us a question, or you can just say hello. We want to hear from you.
That's right, and we got some merchandise at tpublic.com/user/annoyedgruntboys for some nice swag. All right, folks, thanks again for listening. I've been Annoyed Grunt Boy Craig.
And I've been Annoyed Grunt Boy Steve.
And remember, I once destroyed Buddy Epstein's credit rating.
Once again, I'm a sugar my own churro.